Warning, this episode contains spoilers for both the original fairy tale and for One Piece. Water, earth, fire, air. In ancient times, the world was thought to be made up of these four elements. However, the most powerful, most difficult, and most dangerous element was fire. These two anime characters have mastered the control over fire, and it has become one of the most powerful characters in their respective series. Natsu Dragneel, a fire dragon slayer of the Fairy Tail Guild, also known as Salamander, and Portgas D, a feared pirate captain in One Piece known as Fire Fist Ace. I'm Cybertech Werewolf, and in this series I put two characters of fiction in a no-holds-barred fight. Two fighters, no outside help, one random encounter. Let's see who will win a cage match. Take a stroll around the kingdom of Fiore, a world filled with magic. For most, magic is just a part of their day-to-day lives. However, for the wizards, they believe magic to be an art, and these wizards formed guilds. The most famous guild of all is a guild known as Fairy Tail. Natsu Dragneel was an ordinary child living in an ordinary village with his parents and older brother, Zareth. However, this happy family didn't last long when dragons suddenly attacked their village and burnt it to the ground, killing everyone but one. Natsu's older brother, Zareth, survived the attack, and after being horrified by the experience, he desperately searched for a way to revive his brother. Zareth eventually found a connection between life and death within the dark primordial magic, and became obsessed with trying to use the revival system that brings people back from the dead. However, the god of death, Ankh-Selim, became enraged at this and cursed Zareth to live forever and kill anything that Zareth loves. Zareth didn't give up though, and eventually found a way to revive Natsu. However, there was a catch. Natsu would have to be revived as the most powerful demon Zareth has ever created, known as END, Ethereus Natsu Dragneel. But, in fear for his brother's well-being, as well as Natsu refusing to learn anything from him, Zareth gave Natsu to his old friend Igneel, the Fire Dragon King. Igneel would teach Natsu everything from history to language, but he would also end up teaching Natsu one of the most powerful types of lost magic, Dragon Slayer magic. But in order to save the world, Igneel sent Natsu and 4 other Dragon Slayers like him into the future. Natsu, believing Igneel had disappeared, searched desperately for his adopted father, but would eventually find his way to the Fairy Tail Guild, and would become one of the most powerful wizards in the guild. Natsu is one of the most skilled wizards in Fairy Tail, and will always fight for what he believes in, no matter who decides to go against him, and will always try to make the world a better place.
I'm gonna make you pay for what you did to my friends! Messing with Fairy Tail is the biggest mistake you've ever made!
Meet the king of the pirates. Gold D. Roger wanted everything. Fame, fortune. You name it, he got this and more. However, he eventually got caught and executed for his crimes. In his dying breath, he told everyone that he left all of his treasure in one piece. This left everyone to search the world for the One Piece, a treasure that could change their lives. However, unknown to most, Roger had an unknown and unborn heir. The mother, afraid the Marines would eventually kill her son as well, held her pregnancy for 20 months before finally dying at childbirth due to exhaustion. Before she died, she wished to name her son Portgas D, and left Ace in the care of an acquaintance of Roger, named Monkey D. Garp, and raised alongside his childhood friends Monkey D. Luffy and Sabo. At first, Ace and Sabo didn't actually like Luffy, but they would eventually grow close and decide to form a pact to live their lives as free as they can. Before long, Ace would follow in his father's footsteps and become a pirate, eventually becoming the captain of his own ship, the Spade Pirates, in only a year's time. He even got his hands on a super rare treasure called a devil fruit, which grants anyone who eats it a special power. Ace's fruit was the Flame fruit, which allows Ace to, you guessed it, control and produce fire from his body. This particular devil fruit was also part of a rare breed of devil fruits called Logia fruit, which allows the user's body to become their element, meaning his whole body can become fire to avoid physical attacks, and his real body can defend against an attack on his flame body. With everything that makes Ace impressive, his most impressive feat is when he sacrificed himself to save his brother by choosing to get hit. So, unfortunately, Ace was killed, but for the sake of his own brother. And this one simple act made Ace a favorite among fans of One Piece.
Let's stop beating around the bush now, shall we? Even if you play dumb, I know you're a crafty bastard. There's only one reason for me to be here, and you know what it is. So spare me the chit-chat.
Natsu's Dragon Slayer magic grants him many dragon-inspired moves and abilities that he can use in combat, like the Fire Dragon's Iron Fist, Talon, Sword Horn, and Roar, among other moves. His magic also grants him superhuman senses, like Sight and Smell, which allows him to study his opponents and find their weak points. His magic also grants him superhuman strength and speed, and Natsu has great mental fortitude and immense intimidation towards his foes. He can even eat fire to replenish the lost pool of magic and regain his strength and stamina. His flame manipulation is damn near perfect, granting him limited flight, great accuracy with his fire, and he is even resistant to most types of fire, if not immune to it entirely. When Natsu gets serious, he can enter his Dragon Force, which greatly increases Natsu's stats like strength and speed, and he even has another mode called Lightning Flame Dragon mode, which grants him the ability to incorporate lightning with his fire. However, his strongest mode is his Fire Dragon King mode, which grants him abilities only his father could use. Natsu really is Fairy Tail's best wizard for all-around power, and they can rest assured that Natsu will always be there to keep the world a safer place.
You're with Tartaros, aren't you? Yeah, who's asking? Natsu of Fairy Tail. Brace yourself. I'm gonna hurt ya.
After eating the Flame fruit, Ace gained the ability to manipulate and expel fire from his body, as well as turn his whole body into fire. Ace has abilities like Fire Fist, Crossfire, Fire Gun, his Firefly and Fiery Doll combo, Fire Pillar, and Sacred Flame Sea Fire. But his most powerful flame move is his Great Flame Command, Flame Emperor. Ace is quick on his feet, and he can react to gunfire, making it hard for people to harm his physical body. He has resistance to fire, and it is said he can absorb fire as well, but it has never been shown directly. It is also stated that he has the ability to use Haki, which is a power that uses spirit energy to do various things. There are 3 kinds of Haki, and Ace is stated to be able to use all 3 kinds of Haki. However, it's never directly been shown in the anime or the manga that he could use these abilities. Kenbun Shoku, or Observation Haki, grants the user a 6th sense, which grants limited senses on a person's presence, strength, emotion, and intentions. Buso Shoku, or Armament Haki, grants a person defense against attacks, though Ace doesn't really need this thanks to his flame body. And finally, Houshoku, or Conqueror's Haki, which can overpower the will of others, leaving them mentally overwhelmed by the user. And Ace has been stated to be able to use all 3 versions of Haki, though again, it has never directly been shown in the manga or anime, only stated in the Ace light novels. One of his other greatest abilities comes from something he likely gained from his mother, his intense willpower and his incredible defense and endurance. Even though Ace is no longer around, he will always be remembered and will forever go down as one of the best pirates in One Piece.
That's enough! There's nothing fake about the family he gave us, but I wouldn't expect a heartless bastard like you to appreciate that! This is his era! Don't you forget it!
In terms of fighting prowess, Natsu and Ace have been fighting since they were young. However, Natsu has the edge in this battle, because he has had far more training in combat and has more styles and ways to incorporate his fire into his martial arts than Ace does. They both may have been training since their youth, but Natsu has been in far more fights than Ace ever has. This category goes to Natsu. So let's get into strength and attack potency, because they both also have powers, so we need to know their physical and mystical strength. Natsu is pretty strong without his fire. His attacks are so powerful, he casually destroys whole towns without even meaning to, and even more recently in the series, can blow away entire mountains with ease. Even his lifting strength is insane. He lifted this entire stone block with ease and can withstand this insane gravity spell with no problem. However, he can also go into his Dragon Force, which enhances his abilities considerably. But in his strongest form, his Fire Dragon King mode, he one-shot and defeated a war god, and he defeated exactly 973 of his brother's soldiers at once with a single breath attack. Ace is definitely no slouch though. His attacks can wipe out an entire stadium with one hit, destroy entire mountains, he can destroy 5 ships with a single punch, and his Flame Emperor attack could do so much damage it could wipe out an entire island. However, he has no modes like Natsu to increase any of his stats, which is also unlike his brother Luffy. So Ace doesn't really have as many great feats as Natsu does, and the ones he does have doesn't really stack up to Natsu's Fire Dragon King mode. This category goes to Natsu. This one should be pretty obvious. Natsu isn't the smartest person normally, and even in combat he tends to be a bit reckless and comes up with insane strategies in fights, which, although they may be dumb choices, sometimes do end up working. However, he isn't entirely stupid, and he actually can come up with some smart plans in combat. Ace, however, though he isn't a genius, is far more intelligent and thinks about what moves to make before he makes them, and is even smarter while in combat. So overall, this category goes to Ace. Next, let's look at speed. Natsu, in his movement, has moved faster than the eye can proceed. In order for an object to move faster than the eye can detect, it must be moving at least 9,000 miles per hour. And he can hit people at the same time. So we can assume that his attacking speed is about as fast as his base movement speed. But in Dragon Force, he can keep up with Jalal and move even faster, making him at least faster than light. And even in base form, Natsu could dodge light-based attacks at close range. Ace, however, at best, shows relativistic feats. At his slowest, he can react to bullets, and at best, he could react to lightning-level attacks, like when he fought Akainu. He is quick on his feet, but he hasn't shown anything as crazy as Natsu. So at best, we can assume he is peak human with running and striking speed. So in this category, speed goes to Natsu. So this category would have been a tie, but one feat put one character over the edge, but just barely. Ace can hurl fire javelins and whole spirit bombs, and once destroyed 5 whole ships in a straight line, which gives him a considerable attack range, both in distance and attack width. Natsu would have been the same. However, after his 1 year of training, Natsu could send an entire fire dragon roar several hundred feet outside of the town he was standing in, as well as control his fire with such accuracy he hit several bandits. So this brings Natsu over the edge just a bit. So when it comes to defense and durability, Natsu and Ace are very similar in a lot of ways, and have survived some pretty outstanding hits. However, Natsu has a bad tendency of getting put out of commission way more often than Ace, and Ace's Logia form makes him a lot better at taking more punishment than Natsu. This category goes to Ace. This one is probably just as obvious. Natsu tends to overwork his own powers and tends to run out of magic rather quickly, so he usually tries to take out his opponents quickly since he prioritizes offense over defense. For Ace's case, however, he inherited his mother's endurance and he has impeccable willpower. He once fought Jinbei for 5 straight days and kept going. Both could take a lot and keep going, but Natsu tends to fall faster than Ace without the boost of eating fire. So baseline, Ace takes this category. So let's talk individual weaknesses. Natsu's biggest weakness is his hot-headed aggression and hasty attitude in a fight. All Dragon Slayers also suffer from motion sickness. Because of his dragon-like senses, vehicles overwhelm them, causing extreme nausea. He cannot eat fire he created himself, and eating elements that aren't fire will give him a temporary boost, but can cause illness in the long run. Now let's look over Ace's weaknesses. Ace is weak to physical attacks with his normal body, and he is weak to elements that have a significant advantage to fire while in his Logia form, such as water or magma, and he is also easily provoked. He also, despite being a pirate, cannot actually swim because it could hurt his Logia body. So this came very close to being a stalemate. However, there are some things we should look at. In this fight, Ace had the advantage in durability, intellect, and stamina, while Natsu had the advantage in strength, speed, and attack range. However, this fight ultimately goes to Natsu. Although Natsu cannot get around Ace's advantage in intelligence, he could easily get past Ace's defense and stamina. I'll explain this in a second. Ace relies too much on his fire attacks, which Natsu could just eat. and his physical attacks couldn't really hurt Natsu either. Natsu couldn't really hurt Ace with his fire moves either. And his physical attacks, although they could hurt Ace's physical body, Ace could just move to his Logia body and he's good. However, Natsu could get past Ace's Logia body if he tried consuming his fire body, which means Ace couldn't really rely on that body all the time. He also couldn't outlast Natsu in a war of attrition. Though Ace fought Jinbei for 5 straight days, that's the longest we've seen him ever fight, and Natsu could just keep eating Ace's fire, allowing him to regain his lost stamina. This means that, in a sense, Natsu could outlast Ace. However, it wouldn't even need to come to that, since Natsu is fast enough to hit Ace before he could react with his fire body, and Natsu could end up just using his lightning magic to actually damage Ace in his fire body. Even if Ace used his Haki, Natsu has his own trump card like that, with his dragon senses, that he could use to find weak points in his opponent's defenses and take advantage of them. And on top of all this, Natsu just has more fighting experience than Ace does. So with all this in mind, even with all these cool tricks that Ace has up his sleeve, Natsu has far more and could get around most of Ace's best feats. The winner is Natsu Dragneel.
Let's do it again sometime.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Cage Match. This episode wasn't as long, because there isn't as much stuff to research when compared to comic characters. This episode took longer to put out though due to real life getting in the way, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Please leave all your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know who you guys want to see in future episodes. And until next time guys, stay hype, stay awesome, stay weird, and be nice to each other. Cybertech Werewolf, signing off. Next time on Cage Match.